How's it going, everyone? My name is Donovan and this is How to Happy. In this video, we're going to talk about a strategy for improving your empathy, which is just to understand that everyone is doing what they think is right, at least the vast majority of the time. So a great way to illustrate this is thinking about driving, right? So if you're driving, you've probably had an experience where someone pulls out in front of you and, cuts you off. You have to slam on your brakes and you're sitting there thinking, are you kidding me? What are they doing? Why are they doing that? What a joke, like you slam on your horn, all that kind of stuff. How can so many people make such bad decisions? Well, let's switch the frame a little bit. Imagine that you're sitting in traffic and you have been for a while, right? It's not moving, there's maybe a crash or something up ahead, and you keep trying to get in, but no one is really letting you in. So eventually you look for the smallest possible gap that you can find that you still think you can make and hurry and try and pull out. Well, in that scenario, you easily could have just become the person who pulls out in front of someone, cutting them off, right? You thought from what you saw, you had enough time to get in still effectively, but for them, you just cut them off and they had to slam on their brakes. This is exactly how these kinds of things happen. At any given time, everyone is just doing what they think is right or feel is fair. The core of what I'm trying to get at here is everyone is coming from their own unique lens and seeing the world in a very specific way. Very rarely do any of us individually take an action that we think is wrong or unfair. Whatever we're doing, we're looking at the scenario and taking the action that we think is right. Now, what happens is this interpretation will differ from someone else's interpretation and from their vantage point, right? So you thinking, okay, I can make that gap is very different from someone else saying, oh my gosh, why did they just cut me off? You might be thinking, so what? Of course, everyone does what they think is right, but the problem is a lot of times people are wrong. Well, that's an interesting position to take because while you may think they're wrong, in their mind, they still think that they're right. And you may be giving them motivations that aren't actually true. So the first step is to start asking why, to come up with reasons why they might be acting that way. So let's return to our example of getting cut off in traffic and brainstorm a couple possibilities as to why the person did what they did. 1, they didn't see us coming. 2, they thought they had enough space to make it. 3, they're inconsiderate and wanted to get into a dangerous situation. 4, they thought it was their turn to move. And 5, they thought we were letting them in. So when you start brainstorming these different possibilities, the most malicious interpretation seems the least likely, right? No one would intentionally put themselves in a dangerous position because it just doesn't make any sense. The rest of the interpretations are based on some kind of neglect or accident or just some type of misinterpretation, which I'm sure at some point in your life you have been guilty of as well, having some information, thinking a certain way, and finding out that it wasn't quite what you thought it was. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, having this understanding of potential reasons why and knowing that very few of them are malicious helps put my mind at ease, especially in the case of something like traffic where you don't have any real control over what happened, right? The only thing that you can do is get out of the way. Getting really mad, honking on your horn, stuff like that isn't going to change the outcome. Now, before you get there, of course, some people are intentionally rude and intentionally malicious, but the vast majority of the time, people are just trying to act out what they think is right. You can even take an example of, working in customer service and having someone scream at you, right? You may feel that's a very, very unfair action for them to take, but from their perspective, they may think it's right to, vent out those frustrations at you because it might get them closer to the goal that they want. While it may not be the best strategy, they're still operating under what they think is right or fair. So hopefully the realization that everyone is just kind of doing what they believe is right helps you give them a little bit more space to understand where they're coming from and why they believe what they believe. Often to resolve some of these issues that actually do have a resolution, we need to communicate with people and really understand the why behind their actions instead of just assuming that we know exactly what they're doing, thinking, feeling, even if the signs appear obvious to us, they may not be true. That's all I've got, so let's move on to the exercise portion. 1. Think of a time you believed you were right and others thought you were wrong. Why do you think they felt that way? 2. Next time you have a debate, ask the person why they believe that. Try to get to the root of their arguments to understand them better. 3. Next time someone is rude, ask yourself why they would have thought that was the right thing to do. Were they upset? Is that the only communication tactic they know? Is it some other factor? That's all I've got for this video, so as always, if you have any questions, comments, topics you want me to cover, throw them down in the box below. I will get to them as soon as I can, and beyond that, I will see you next time.
You can check out more content at howtohappy.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you can stay up to date on the videos. We've also got a Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook that you can check out. Reflect, take action, and enjoy life. See you next time.